All rise.
Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning. Welcome. Court officer, can you please call the case?
Good morning, Your Honors. This is case KSC BC 2020-05, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Salih, Mustafa.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. We will now we now have the parties, the Victims' Counsel and the Registry, introduce themselves. Mr. Prosecutor, you may start.
Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, everyone. The prosecution is represented today by myself, Cezary Michalczuk. With me on my left is Silvia Dascoli, Associate Prosecutor for the SPO. This is Filippo De Minicis, Associate Prosecutor from the SPO. And the case manager for today is Julie Mann. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Victims' Counsel, you have the floor.
Good morning, Your Honours. Good morning, everybody. The Victims' Counsel team today is represented by myself, Annie Poos as Victims' Counsel, and Marie-Pierre Babot, my Senior Legal Associate. Thank you.
Thank you. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Defense is represented by myself, Julius van Bonnet, lead counsel. My co-counsel is Mr. Betim Shala, investigator, and our interpreter is always Mr. Fatmir Pillai. And also present in the courtroom today is Mr. Mustafa.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mustafa, I recall that you have the right to remain silent and that such silence will not be considered in the determination of your innocence or guilt. Okay, now I turn to the registry, please.
Good morning, Madam President, Your Honours. I'm Ralph Roach from the registry. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, my colleagues are Judge Roland Dekkers, Judge Gilbert Beatty, and Judge Vladimir Mikula, Reserve Judge, and I am Mapiveld Volja, Presiding Judge for Trial Panel 1. There seems to be an issue with the transcript. I was requested to give the technicians a moment to see if they can fix it. So we will wait a few minutes. I was informed that it might take 5 or 10 minutes because they have to reboot the system. What I will do is now that the judges will go back and wait for the moment that we can start again. And till that moment, the hearing is adjourned.
All rise. All right.
Okay, you can all please sit down. Okay. Okay, good. We resume the hearing. Let us.
Because there was no transcript, we have to do appearances again, because it's as if it didn't happen. There is no
Okay,
record of it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. There's no. Madam Court Officer, can we start?
Your Honors, I'm just confirming with the AV colleagues. Yes, it seems now we're back on track. Yes, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Good morning and welcome. Court Officer, can you please call the case?
Good morning, Your Honors. This is case KSC BC 2020-05, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Salih Mustafa.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. I will now call appearances. I kindly ask the parties, the Victims' Counsel and the Registry to introduce themselves, starting with the Specialist Prosecutor's Office. You have the floor.
Your Honors, good morning. The prosecution today is represented by myself, Cezary Michalczuk, prosecutor from the SPO, Silvia Dascoli, associate prosecutor for the SPO, Filippo De Minicis, another associate prosecutor for the SPO, and the case manager with us is Julie Mann. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Your Honours. The Victims' Counsel team is represented by myself, Annie Poos, Victims' Counsel, and Marie-Pierre Babot, Senior Legal Associate. Thank you.
Thank you. Counsel for the defense, you have the floor.
Good morning, Your Honors. The defense is represented by myself, Julius von Bonnet, lead counsel. My co-counsel is Mr. Betim Shala. Investigator and interpreter is Mr. Fatmir Pillai. And also in the courtroom today is Mr. Mustafa, the accused.
Thank you, Defense Counsel. Mr. Mustafa, I recall that you have the right to remain silent and that such silence will not be considered in the determination of your innocence or guilt. And then now the Registry.
Good morning, Madam President, Your Honours. I'm Ralph Roach from the Registry. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, my colleagues are Judge Roland Deckert, Judge Gilbert Biti, and Judge Vladimir Mikula, and I am Mappi Veldvolja, presiding judge for Trial Panel 1. Okay, now, let us now refer to the testimony of witness 3593. Can we please usher the witness into the courtroom? Thank you. Mr. Witness, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
Did you have a good rest?
Very good.
Very well, Mr. Witness. Pursuant to Rule 127, paragraph 3 of the rules, the panel may at any stage pose you some questions. You have been asked questions now by the public prosecution, by the prosecution, by the Victims' Counsel, and by the Defense Counsel, and now the judges will ask you some questions. Yeah. We hope in that way to gain some more clarity about what you already have stated in your testimony, and your answers could be of great value to better understand what happened. So I understand that you already spent 4 days with us, and that it has been tiring and demanding, but please bear some more with us, and we will put you now some questions, okay? Okay, let me see. The first question. We will start in public session, and at a certain moment we will go into private session. Were the soldiers wearing masks in the place in Salih where you were detained?
Yeah. No.
And then the specific page is SPOE 00127752. Could you explain why you said then, if you still remember, that the person was wearing a mask?
I don't deny it. I could have said that, but again, I'm telling you that I don't think that he had a mask. I wasn't able to look, but I don't think he had a mask.
Mr. Witness, I hear your answer. It's just for me to understand that at a certain moment in time, you have said positively that the person was wearing a mask. And I'm here to try to understand why in that period of time you said that, and now you say, no, I don't think he's wearing a mask. And I understand your answer, the following, that you say, I now think that he was not wearing it. And my question is, why did you say otherwise in that period?
I've forgotten, maybe I said that, but now I'm saying, and this is what I think now, that I didn't see him wearing a mask.
I saw in your interview witness with number 061015 TR-ET Part 2 revised, page 5, line 6, that indeed to the specialist prosecutor you said when you were interviewed by them that their faces were uncovered. But if I summarize you, you say, I cannot recall exactly why I said that then, but I tell you now that what I recall is that their faces were not covered. Is that a good summary?
Yes.
Okay, and another question is, in your testimony in the last few days, and the reference is transcript page 45, line 22 and 23, you said that after a month after your release from where you were held in Slash, that you learned what the name was of the commander of the place where you were held. You said that.
Yes, that's correct.
In the same statement I just referred to, so SPO E00127751 till 69 red 4, and then especially page 127756, that's page 6 of the statement. Could it be that you were afraid to tell them the truth?
No, there was no need for me to be afraid of them. There was no reason. I'm here to tell you the truth, not to lie.
I understand, and that's indeed what we asked you to do, to tell the truth. And I'm trying to understand why you now said something different than back then. That is what I'm trying to verify. And I have asked the question now several times, and I see that you cannot really give an answer to it other than I don't know why I didn't say it.
Yes.
Understand that from the view of the panel, we are trying to understand why you at a certain moment in time say one thing, at another moment in time you say another thing.
That can happen only when one forgets, or when he or she doesn't know, or when he or she is mistaken.
We will go to the next question. Was it publicly known that in Slash there was a place where people were taken to be interrogated and detained? Did people know that amongst each other?
At the time, I didn't know that. I couldn't know that, and nobody could know that.
It was not a public secret at that time.
I don't know who had knowledge about that. I was there myself and still not aware why those things were being done there. I couldn't understand that.
My next question. Madam Court Officer, could you put up the following, it's a line of pictures, the following picture, ERN 082256. Madam Court Officer, please don't proceed yet. I want to give another number, and we will do this one afterward. Can that still be done? Okay. SPOE 00222559. Mr. Witness, can you see this picture?
Yes.
Do you recognize somebody on this picture?
I think I can recognize just one of them. He is on my right side. And I'm still not sure. I think that that's the person.
Let's make it more clear. Is he kneeling or standing?
Kneeling.
Let me say, is it on your left side? Yeah.
To my right.
Then to indicate, is he near the bookshelves or on the other side?
This is the person, and on his insignia you can read KLA.
Yes, but I see two. Is the person next to the bookshelves or on the other side?
The person kneeling and the person who has on his chest KLA insignia. I can't see the other one having such an insignia on his chest.
Near the bookshelves on the right side. Yes. I would like to have in some way kind of marking with a pencil. I'm going to see how we can arrange for that, because then it's clearer also for the record. Mr. Prosecutor, I saw you standing.
It was just exactly this kind of suggestion that maybe it's easier for him simply to mark the photographs,
Yes.
because he might get confused. So maybe it's just clearer to do it in this way.
Yes, but I was wondering how we then can see it all. We will see it. Mr. Witness, please move on the left screen. And then please mark the person you think you recognize. We now see appear a green circle on the person. Thank you, Mr. Witness. That is clear for us. And then I will show you another picture, and that is SPO EOO 222547. Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Is there somebody you recognize on this picture, Mr. Witness?
No.
Okay. And then the last picture. Madam Court Officer, could you please bring the picture back for me? Sorry. No, please make it smaller. Yes, okay. This was 547. Good. Now, and then the last picture is ERN 082256. Could you please put that on? Maybe you could make it a little bit bigger. Do you recognize this person on the picture, Mr. Witness?
No, I cannot recognize him.
Madam Court Officer, I would like to go now into private session, please.
Your Honors, we're now in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, yesterday we discussed in the afternoon, and I will give the reference soon, we discussed who told you the name of the person, what the name of the person was that did what happened to you. And my question to you is, and we have insisted a lot, who were those persons? And you didn't want to share with us the names.
publicly that I'm not here to take revenge or to have this accused convicted.
Here, and we appreciate very much that you're giving these days to give a testimony in this court. However, it is important that the panel asks you the questions that they think are relevant to be able at a certain moment in time to reach a verdict. So I have to understand what you have said in a certain moment of time. And if you now say, I have forgotten it, that is an answer, but we have to explore that. We have to explore that. I have to understand. And if you say, I don't know, that's good for me, but we are in a position to ask you those questions, and we should ask you those questions. We would not be doing our proper job if we would not be asking you those questions to clarify. And I'm not implying that you are lying. I'm here for clarification. I don't have made my mind up, and I want to understand. Okay. Yes, then I will ask you some a few further questions, and they need to be done in a private session because they could identify who you are. So we will remain in private session. It was discussed a little bit during your testimony, but do you know why you were taken prisoner?
I don't know why I was taken prisoner. I can't know that. They know that. I don't.
In the unmixed statement where we referred to already, and then specifically SPOE 00127752, and that's page 2, you said, he told me I'm going to break this finger because you were cooperating with the Serbians. Where did that come from?
Yes, that's correct.
Implied, they told you that they thought that you were cooperating with the Serbians.
Yes, they thought I was collaborating with the Serbs and that I was some sort of spy. I wasn't involved in anything. I was minding my own business. But I was accused of collaborating with the Serbs, yes.
Have any idea why they thought that?
I don't know. And I never owed anybody anything in my whole life. I don't know whether we're trying to take revenge about something.
and that is not necessary for this part of my questioning. So I would like to ask the court officer to go into public.
See counsel standing.
Yes,
Please,
Your
you
Honor.
have the floor.
And just before we go into public session, I would like to bring up one issue which I think is relevant, but I think it's maybe better if the witness takes off the microphone.
Mr. Witness, could you take off your headset?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. The issue is that when we show particular photographs, obviously these are broadcasted in Kosovo and anywhere. There is an online channel which broadcasts everything. And we would not like that if future witnesses are already aware of pictures, that they can already deduct from that anything that might come up whenever they have to become here a witness in trial. It might influence them, and that's why I want to just bring up this subject, because I think it would not. It might be wise to not to do that, basically.
Thank you. It was confirmed to me, defense counsel, that nothing has been broadcast and that no pictures have been shown to the public.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, court usher, for informing the witness to be able to put his headphones on. Mr. Witness, I give the floor back to the judge at my right-hand side.
Microphone.
Yeah.
Madam Court Officer, we want to go into...
I will repeat it.
Wait.
Your Honors, we're now back in open session.
I will repeat it to you, Mr. Witness. I would like to read to you a passage from your interview
Thank you. I look at my left-hand side. Yes. I give the floor now to the colleague at my left-hand side.
Mr. Witness, first, thank you for your patience. I'm Judge Gilbert Biti, and do not worry too much, because I think your testimony will end soon now. I just have a few questions. In your testimony here on Monday, you described that you were beaten twice, and you said that it was by a man in a red hat. I noticed that you said that this man was saying things at the moment he was beating you, or afterwards. For example, during the first beating, he said, after he, apparently, according to what you said, put a revolver on your forehead, you know what, so let him be, because this man is lucky. During the second beating, as you described, apparently he was also saying things. He was asking you, for example, who were the thieves. So I have a question for you. Did you eventually recognize the voice of that person during the second beating? Was it the same voice, according to you?
To tell you the truth, I did not stop and analyze the voices, but it was the same person who beat me twice. He was wearing a red hat the first time and the second time. However, as to the voices, I don't know.
Thank you. According to you, the day you were released, you told us also in this courtroom that you were 17 in that barn, and that you were among the last ones to be released. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, told us, and apparently it was for the first time, that they were calling you by your names. Did you recognize those names, or one of them?
I didn't understand the question.
When you were released, they were calling you and the others by your names. And actually, I had noticed that it was the first time that you said that they were calling you by your names. Did you hear those names? Did you recognize some of those names?
Well, I didn't pay attention to what names were being called. I just heard my name, and that's it.
Okay. Those who were calling you by your names, were they addressing all of you in Albanian?
Of course, yes.
Do you think that the people detained with you were all coming from your region?
I don't know.
Okay. I have a few more questions only on the number of people who were with you. Could you tell me if all of them stayed with you all the time, or if some of them were detained for a much shorter period of time?
The people I was there with stayed there. But now and then they would bring other people. I don't know how many.
Okay. Did your family knew where you were detained?
Yes.
Was it known in the region that KLA soldiers had a place in Slash where they were detaining people? I guess that if your family knew, my question is, did others knew?
They did not know that there was a prison there, but they did know that they took people there to question them. Even I didn't believe that there was such a place in Zlach.
So the day when they came for you and told you, we will go to Slash, you did not know where you were going. You did not know exactly where they were bringing you. Or did you have already an idea?
No, I didn't know. Two soldiers came, introduced themselves. They said, we're military police, and you have to come with us to Slush. We need to ask you something. And I didn't want to refuse. I thought they would ask me something, have a conversation. I didn't know that they would reduce me to that state and beat me.
I have one or two last questions, but I think we have to go into private session because that would be identifying.
Thank you. Madam Court Officer, could we please go into private? And for the record, I was informed that we have 15 minutes more after 1 o'clock to continue with the questions.
Your Honors, we're back in public session.
Madam Court Officer, you said, I didn't hear it well. We are back in public?
We're back in public session. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, I'm going to repeat what I already said. We have reached the end of your testimony, and you spent with us 4 days, and I imagine that it must have been tiring and demanding, and I thank you for being with us here all those days. You've helped us a lot in try to find what happened back then and to find the truth. And for now, I wish you a safe journey home. And I remind you not to talk to anybody about the statement you have given here before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. It's for you done now. Court usher, could you please usher the witness out? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do parties and victims' counsel have anything to raise?
Your Honor, no submission from the prosecution.
Thank you.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
Okay, good. Then we will resume at 2:30 with the testimony of the next SPO witness. So the hearing is adjourned.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. I will look if there are any changes in composition. Look at my right-hand side to the Specialist Prosecution Office.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. The prosecution has added to its team Ms. Deborah Osborne, our legal intern.
Thank you. Good. In the Victims' Counsel, I see the same composition. Yes. And then the defense is also the same composition. I see the registry also. And then I note the, let me see. Oh, there, yes. I note the presence of Mr. Hans van der Wal. He has been assigned duty counsel to witness 4600, who will be testifying this afternoon. For the record, this is filing number F194. Welcome to you too. Can we please usher the witness into the courtroom, please?
Microphone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you, first of all?
I'm okay, thank you.
Today we will start with your testimony. Yeah? But before we begin, I have several remarks I would like to make. Let me first explain in clear terms. Sorry for that. Let me first explain to you in clear terms the protective measures that have been assigned to you for your testimony. You have been assigned a pseudonym. This means that we will never mention your name, but we will refer to you as Mr. Witness, to make sure that the public doesn't know who you are. You also have face and voice distortion, which means that no one outside the courtroom watching the broadcast can see your face or hear your real voice during the testimony. When you answer questions that will not reveal your identity, we will do so in open session, which means that the public can hear and see what is said in the courtroom. When you are asked to describe anything that relates specifically to you, or to mention facts that might reveal your identity, we will do so in private session. And that means that there is no broadcast, and no one outside the courtroom can hear what is said in this courtroom. If anything is said in this courtroom that may identify you, we will protect this information, and your testimony will be broadcasted with a delay, and we can remove any such information from the broadcast that will be seen and heard by the public, and from the public transcript of the proceedings. Are the protective measures that I just explained to you, are they clear to you? Mr. Witness, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. I request the parties and the Victims' Council, like for the other time, to respect such protective measures and pay the utmost attention in the course of their examination, avoiding disclosure of confidential information. This hearing is held in open session unless otherwise required by the parties or the Victims' Council or decided by the panel. In this regard, I remind you to give me prior notice should you require going into private session or closed session for the purpose of question or to make any submissions. And I also remind the parties to adhere to the procedure for requesting in-court redactions as set out in paragraphs 43 and 44 of the decision on the conduct of proceedings. And as said before, if we all act diligently respecting the protective measures granted for this witness, there should be minimal requests for in-court redactions or even none, which will help us focusing on the testimony of the witness. I would now like to move into private session in order to discuss further matters with this witness. Madam Court Officer, can you inform us when we are in private session?
Your Honours, we're in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, by means of an oral order dated 20 September of this year, the panel decided to grant your Duties Council request to provide you with assurances in accordance with Rule 151, paragraph 3 of the rules. I trust that your counsel has informed you of this. Yeah.
Yes.
I inform you of the following. Any answers to questions put to you in this courtroom that may incriminate you will be given in private session. As previously noticed, this means that no one outside the courtroom can hear what you are saying, And I ask the parties and the Victims' Counsel to be mindful of this when asking questions. Also you, Mr. Witness, and your duty counsel can indicate at any time that you would like us to go into private session if deemed necessary. Your testimony given in private session, which may incriminate you, will not be disclosed in any manner, either now or in the future, to the public, Kosovo, or any third state. Your testimony given in private session, which may incriminate you, will not be used either directly or indirectly against you in any subsequent prosecution before the specialist chambers, except under Article 15, Paragraph 2 of the law and Rule 65 of the rules. This means that it is very important that you tell us the truth about the past events, even if they might incriminate you. If you don't tell us the truth during your testimony here before us, you can be prosecuted for providing false statements. Do you understand all of this, Mr. Witness?
Yes, I do.
I now turn to the parties and to the Victims' Counsel. As noted yesterday, it is important to have as much of these proceedings as possible in public. However, with the current witness, we have to be mindful of two matters. On the one hand, we have the protective measures, and on the other hand, we have the questions that may incriminate him, which also need to be gone into private session. So I would like to ask the parties and the Victims' Counsel, when asking their questions, to be particularly mindful as to whether a certain question can be potential answer in public or that we should refer to private, but weight every every question in this regard. Should there be a need to go into private session and then back into the public session more often, that is better than having an entirely private testimony, although I see that there could be little space for moving, but let's give it a try in that respect. Okay, and duty counsel, you may request at any time going into private session in your client's interest. Is that clear?
That's clear, thank you.
Madam Court Officer, can we please go back into public session?
Your Honor, we're now in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, I turn back to you. You are called to testify before the specialist chambers in the case of the specialist prosecutor versus Salih Mustafa, to assist the panels of judges who are sitting here to reach a verdict. After you have taken your solemn declaration to tell the truth, you will be asked questions by the specialist prosecutor, the lawyers representing the victims admitted to participate in the case, the defense counsel, and by us, the judges of the panel. And I would like to provide you with some guidance for answering the questions that you will be asked. Yeah? Listen carefully to each question. If you do not understand, feel free to ask for the question to be repeated. We want you to tell the truth and to tell us what you saw, heard, sensed, experienced yourself. If you did not see or hear yourself, but you found it out in some other ways, then you should say so to us. You may not remember details of events, and it's perfectly okay. Do not guess, do not make things up. There's nothing wrong in saying, I don't know. Yeah? Have you understood all that? Okay.
Yes, everything is clear.
Now I would like to give you some practical advice for your testimony, Mr. Witness. Everything we say here is translated and recorded, so it's important to speak into the microphone. When a question is asked, please count to 5. before giving an answer. This pause of 5 seconds is essential to hear, translate, and record what you're saying. If you have any questions, if you need a break at any time or you need assistance at any time, please do not hesitate to raise your hand, so I know that you wish to say something. Yeah? Have you also understood all this, Mr. Witness? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. As we must do with every witness, I will now ask you to read the solemn declaration to tell the truth. And I remind you that it is an offense within the jurisdiction of the specialist chambers to give false testimony. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The officer is already standing next to you with the solemn declaration to tell the truth.
Do I have to stand?
Please, you can read the text.
Thank you. From here, conscious of the significance of my testimony and my legal responsibility, I solemnly declare that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and that I shall not withhold anything which has come to my knowledge.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. You are now under oath to tell the truth. We can now begin with the testimony of witness 4600, starting with the questioning by the Specialist Prosecution Office. I have decided not to start with the free narration.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Interpreters kindly ask the witness to sit closer to the microphone.
Mr. Prosecutor, you have estimated 6 hours for your questioning of this witness. And as we have said before, we expect you to stick to this estimate and to inform us if you use less time for our planning purposes or you need more time for your planning purposes. You have the floor.
Will do, Your Honor. Good afternoon, witness. My name is Filippo De Minicis. I'm an associate prosecutor with the SPO. And we've actually briefly met in a courtesy meeting facilitated by the Witness Protection and Support Office a couple of days ago. I will be leading your evidence today and tomorrow. And Madam President has already amply and clearly advised you of how it works, your rights, you're assisted by counsel. So,
may the prosecutor speak closer to the microphone, please? Thank you.
Are you ready to start?
Yes.
For the initial personal details, I'm going to have to ask to go into private session, please.
Madam Court Officer, could you please go into private session?
Initially, there were no brigades, but later they began to be formed. I don't know the exact dates when they were officially announced as formed, but there were 153, 151. Then they were called Hüsritala Brigade, so they were called by name, so they changed over time.
You told us that you don't recall the exact time when the brigades were formed, and we don't need to know that. But you recall if it was in 1998 or 1999?
I believe it was 1999. However, I'm not sure whether it was 1998 or 1999. I told you I don't know the exact dates.
Your Honor, I apologize, but my computer seems to have logged out, and I no longer have the screen in front. May I log back in?
Of course, Mr. Prosecutor, it happened to me the other day, so please
Thank you.
proceed.
Apologies. I'm back online. In February 1999, or in 1999 when the brigades were created, who was the commander of the LAP zone?
It was Rustem Mustafa.
Who was the commander of Brigade 153?
Until the end of 1998, commander was Fatmir Sopi and Saidi Veseli. Then the commander was Adem Shehi.
Where did Brigade 153 have its headquarters?
First of all, the brigade was stationed at Fatmir Sopi's house, and then they transferred to the school in Zlash.
Your Honor, I would ask to move very briefly into private session to then go back into public after a couple of questions.
Thank you. Madam Court Officer, can we revert into private session, please?
We're back in open session, Your Honors.
Mr. Witness, in addition to Brigade 153, was there any other KLA unit which was based in Slash?
Yes, there was.
Which unit was based in Slash in addition to, or units, in addition to Brigade 153?
Apart from 153 Brigade, there was also the Karadak Operational Zone and BIA unit, known as Skifterat. These two were also based there.
Who was the commander of the BIA unit?
The commander of BIA unit was Salih Mustafa.
Mustafa, also known by any other name or nickname?
Yes, by the pseudonym of Salih.
When did the BI-8 unit start using this base in Slash?
I don't know exactly.
You know until when they were based there?
As to until when, to my knowledge, until the bombardment by the Serbian forces. Until then, they were stationed in Slash.
Now, you told us that Brigade 153 was in the Slash school. You told us that its previous location, Fatmir Sopi's house, was about 600 meters from there. Where in Slash was the BIA unit base located?
The BIA unit had its base at Svartsove neighborhood, as we used to call them. It was the Krasnichi neighborhood.
Witness, is Slash a flat or hilly area?
The highest point in Golak is Slash.
Was the BIA unit in Svarts located downhill or uphill from the school? Or in other words, to go from the school to the BIA unit, did you have to walk uphill or downhill?
Uphill.
By and large, are you able to tell us what distance was between the school and the BIA unit in Svarts?
Approximately 1 to 1.5 kilometers.
Now, I remind you that we are in public session at this moment, So I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want you to tell me just a yes or no, if possible. And I will we will go back to that topic later in private session. But for now, I'd just like to ask you, did you ever go to the BIA unit, to the BIA unit's base in Sfax?
Yes, I did. Microphone, please.
Are you able to describe for the panel the layout of the BIA unit space in Sfax? Perhaps I'm not asking anything too specific. For now, just an approximate description of what it looked like would suffice.
Mr. Prosecutor, thank you.
Yes, I will try to describe it in approximate terms. I will start with Fatmir Sopi's house, where the base was initially stationed. There is a school. The road goes uphill up to their base. Microphone, please.
The BIA unit space, was it just one building or more than one building?
There were more buildings there, not just one. It was a family compound composed of several houses, which were old houses.
Thank you. Are these buildings still there today? Are they still standing?
After the shelling, I don't think they existed anymore.
I forgot to ask you earlier, do you recall when the shell bombardment took place, in which month?
In April.
April 1999?
Yes.
At the time when you were in 1999, was the BIA unit space guarded?
I don't know.
Any guard, for instance, controlling access to its perimeter?
Yes, when I was there, yes, but in general, I don't know whether they had guards or not.
I think you've explained quite clearly the location of the basis of the different, at least of Brigade 153 and of the BIA unit in Sfax. Now, was any unit of Brigade 153 stationed in Sfax?
Let's not take this Sfax as a name of a village or a neighborhood or of a certain designated location. The villagers who lived there, their surname is Krasnichi, but they are called Svarca. That's why, to avoid confusion, it's not the name of the neighborhood, but it's the name referring to the family. And this is the reason why that place was called Svarts, nothing else. The last name of the family that lived there was Krasnichi. So to avoid any confusion that this is a name of a village, a town, city, it's just a family name, the Svarts family, nothing else.
Thank you for clarifying that. So, if I understand you correctly, as far as the location of the BIA unit's base was in this compound that belonged to this family. Or is that correct?
Yes.
And in this compound, in addition to the BI unit, was there any other unit, or was there any Brigade 153 unit using that as a base?
No, I don't think there was.
You told us that some units of the Karadak zone also operated in Slash. Was any soldier of the Karadak zone based in this compound used by the BIA unit as a base?
No, I don't know. Microphone, please.
Into private session.
Madam Court Officer, could we please go into private session, please? Thank you, Madam Court Officer.
Mr. Witness, do you recognize this drawing?
Yes.
Recognize the signature on the bottom right corner of this drawing? Whose signature?
Yes. Mine.
Do you remember sketching this during your SPO interview that took place on the 21st of January 2020?
Yes, I remember it.
In the bottom, slightly left side of the sketch, there is an arrow. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you tell us what it depicts, that part of your drawing?
There are two arrows here. The arrow from the road to the gate, and then the other one going inside into the yard.
Yeah, I believe that's a number 1, but it does look like an arrow. But could you tell us?
No, that's an arrow.
That's okay. Could you tell us what that drawing represents? What part of what is it that you drew there?
I tried to depict here that when you come from the left side on this road and you stop in front of the gate, that's what the first arrow depicts. And then when the second arrow depicts going inside, and that's why I put that arrow there.
I apologize for mischaracterizing your sketch. Now, you see what appears to me to be a number 2 next to a rectangular drawing on the right-hand side. It's on the center, actually, of that sketch. Do you see that?
Yes.
The panel, what that represents there.
This was a building. A single-story building, an old one. Up to these lines that you can see in the sketch. There was a sort of a porch there. And then there were rooms, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many rooms there were. And all the rooms had doors.
Please finish your sentence, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you, Madam President. No, I was saying that we may go back to, I have finished with private session questions, so I no longer need to be in private session.
Okay. What I was going to suggest that I could also ask the interpreters to see if we could go along a little bit more, maybe a quarter of an hour, and that would give you 20 minutes to continue the examination. But I leave that up to you.
Well, Your Honors, I do have still, if Your Honors would like to go on a little longer, I for sure can. I would ask, though, for a 5 minutes break before restarting, if that's possible.
I first have to ask our interpreters if it's possible. Yes, my question to the interpreter booth is, could we go on for another 15, 20 minutes?
I think that's possible, Your Honor, yes.
Then we take, in this case, we take a 5 minute break and then we, okay, yes. Madam Court Officer, can we please revert to public session, please?
Your Honours, we're now in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. We have now still some time because we have the possibility that the interpreters assist us some more. We will adjourn now for 5 minutes and then continue another 15 minutes. So the hearing is adjourned for 5 minutes.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. We resume. Our system is kind of heavy, so that means that when we take a break of 5 minutes, it's always a little bit more. Good. Before we usher the witness in again, I would like to call appearances very quickly, just to see if nothing has changed on this side. SPO.
Your Honor, nothing has changed for the
Okay,
SPO.
very good. That's for the record. I see the same face at the Victims' Council. For
No
the
changes.
defense, nothing changed. And there I note that the registry is not represented anymore. We can now usher the witness in, please. Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Thank you.
Till what time are we allowed to continue?
We have to consult each other, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may, maybe your assistance at this point to say that we don't plan to go on for too long. We just have 2 or 3 questions asked to some more precise information about evidence already given by the witness, and we plan to continue tomorrow with new questions.
So what is your estimation? 10 minutes, quarter of a...
10 minutes tops.
Okay. For the interpretation, 10 minutes is what we are asking for.
We can go on until 4:30, Your Honor.
We were informed that there will be only 10 minutes needed for further examination for today. So, thank you for your disponibility. Mr. Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Your Honor, we can start in a public session for a couple of questions, but then I will need to go back into private, just for caution, because even if I'm careful, the answer elicited may be revealing.
Please proceed.
We've put that on the record.
Agron Cemali was part of 153rd Brigade, and to my knowledge, he was chief of intelligence service of this brigade.
what was the role of an intelligence service, the intelligence service, within Brigade 153?
I don't know what his role was precisely, but when you say intelligence service, you know, you can imagine what sort of services are carried out. It's a matter of organization, supervision of different position points, brigade, information. So to my knowledge, these are the tasks that were included.
You said information. Was that gathering of information for intelligence purposes?
Yes, of course.
Did Agron Jamaili have the power to order arrests?
As far as I know, he got his orders from the zone staff, the operational zone staff, not from the brigade staff. So he did not take orders from the brigade staff, and to my knowledge, he got his orders directly from the operational zone staff.
Was it within his authority to order that somebody be arrested?
Probably yes.
Early, Your Honor, can we please move into private session now?
Madam Court Officer, can we go into private session, please?
Your Honours, we're in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Prosecutor, when you have finalized your questions, we might try again to have the sketch shown to the witness. And because I was informed that apparently the witness was touching the screen with his hand while using the pen. Maybe if we try it again and then insisting on only touching the screen with the pen and not with the hand, we might receive the letters on the screen in a more visible way.
By all means, Your Honor, I'm happy to go there right now if that...
Okay, maybe then you can repeat the questioning on this specific part, and if it doesn't work out, we have the sketch printed out, and then we could have Mr. Witness put the letters, if he wants to write anything on it, on the sketch, and then put it into the custody of our colleagues from CMU. But let us first try to do it digitally.
Absolutely, Your Honor. So we're now in private session. The sketch is back up.
Varsågod. Vem ska nog sägas för jag förstår det.
I can't improve B, I think, here. I'll leave it this way.
What are you writing there? Which letter?
I was trying to write letter A.
Record, because then
I understand you, but it's a bit difficult to write with this pen.
Angular on the picture at the right side, Mr. Witness has made a sign and he says that is A.
On the left side, down here, at this part below, is letter B.
Okay, for the record, is that clear enough? It's on the left side from the arrow at the bottom part of the picture. The sign there is a B. Thank you, Mr. Witness.
And now, with Your Honor's permission, I would like to ask the court officer to move to the following page of this document.
Madam Court Officer, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Witness.
Your Honors, we're back in open session.
Thank you. We are now in public session. Mr. Witness, thank you very much for your time today. Let me remind you that until tomorrow you shall not discuss your testimony with anyone. Yeah? You will be assisted by the registry staff now. Try to rest, and we will see you again tomorrow. Is that clear for you? I see you.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Witness, for today. Can we please assist the witness leaving the courtroom? Thank you. Now, if the parties and the Victims' Council do not have anything to raise anymore today, I see nodding, then we will resume tomorrow. And I thank the parties and the Victims' Council for their attendance. I also wish to thank the interpreters, especially for also the extra time, the stenographer, the audiovisual booth, and the security personnel for their assistance today. We will resume tomorrow at 9:30, and I adjourn the hearing.
All rise.